All right. Welcome to the November 29th, 2023 meeting of the School Performance and Accountability Committee of the Tennessee Public Charter Commission. Before we begin the meeting, I want to recognize our General Counsel, Ashley Thomas, to provide the statement of necessity for today.
Thank you, Chairman. This is Ashley Thomas. This committee meeting is being conducted pursuant to TCA 8-44-108, allowing for a governing body to allow participation by electronic means of communication where a physical quorum is not possible. As committee business requires a decision prior to the regularly scheduled January meeting, the necessity of this special call meeting is for the committee's deliberation and actions on items as set forth in the November 29th, 2023 agenda. This meeting is being recorded and will be available after its conclusion via link on the Commission's website for the public to participate. Also, a call-in number was provided on the Commission's website for the public to participate, and a statement of necessity shall be filed with the Secretary of State pursuant to TCA 8-44-108.
Great. Thank you, Ashley. And as a reminder, all votes of the Commission are conducted via taking a roll call vote. So please identify yourself prior to speaking or making a motion. I believe we're now ready for a roll call. Drejan, could you please take a roll call of the commissioners?
Yes. Commissioner Griscom?
I'm finally here. Thank you.
Commissioner Richards?
Here.
Commissioner Patterson?
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Okay, great. Thank you, Drejan. We'll be handling some time-sensitive matters that require the committee action before our next quarterly meeting in January today. And so we'll vote on approval of our TISA accountability report that was presented at the October quarterly meeting. And then we'll consider the charter school amendment petition that the commission has received from Libertas School of Memphis. Does anyone have any questions or comments before we vote to approve the agenda?
Move to approve. This is Tom Griscom.
Thank you.
This is Chris Richards, second.
Thank you, Drejan. Could you please take a roll call vote for us?
Commissioner Griscom?
Aye.
Commissioner Richards?
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson?
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Great. Thank you again. The agenda is approved. Next, we'll move to the approval of the prior minutes, the minutes from the September 21st, 2023 School Performance and Accountability meeting have been provided. Does anyone have any corrections or any comments before we vote on approval?
Tom Griscom, I move to approve.
This is Chris Richards, I second.
Drejan, could you please take a roll call vote for us?
Commissioner Griscom?
Aye.
Commissioner Richards?
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson?
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Great. All right, so we have our minutes approved. We'll now move to the TISA accountability report. The TISA accountability report was originally presented at the September SPA committee meeting. No vote was taken at the meeting, and approval by the full commission is required by the Tennessee Department of Education. So I'd like to recognize Executive Director Tess Stovall to present the report for us. Tess.
Thank you, Chair Patterson. As you stated, the TISA accountability report was previously presented to this committee and to the commission in September and October. We received feedback from this committee as well as shared it with our operators for feedback. We then finalized the report and turned it into the Department of Education by the November 1st deadline. But the Department of Education communicated to all school districts in October that they needed an approval by the local Board of Education for the report. And given the fact that the report was due November 1st, they are allowing both turning in the report on time as well as a late approval by boards of education to certify that you all have reviewed and that you understand this report and the contents of it. We will be revisiting this accountability report annually. My guess is the timeline will run similar to the fall when we get data back from the previous school year. We will then analyze our goals, our progress towards our goals, and then we will be presenting an updated report to the commission at the October 2024 meeting. And with that, I ask for this committee's recommendation to approve at the full commission meeting next Monday.
This is Chris Richards. I move that we recommend the approval of this report to the full board next Monday.
This is Tom Griscom. I will second the motion.
Trajan, could you please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Griscom,
Aye.
Commissioner Richards,
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Chairman, the motion is approved.
Great, thank you again. So we have the TISA accountability report now approved. The last item on our agenda today is an amendment petition for Libertas School of Memphis. I'd like to recognize Director of Authorizing Beth Figueroa to give an overview of that petition.
Thank you, Chair Patterson. I'm here today to discuss the amendment petition that was filed for Libertas School of Memphis. And so first, just to begin, I wanted to provide some general context and background for the school. So Libertas opened in 2015 and they transitioned to the commission beginning in school year 22-23 after meeting the qualifications for exiting the Achievement School District. Libertas currently serves students in grades pre-K through 5th, and it provides a Montessori education model in the Fraser community within Memphis. The amendment petition that was filed by the school would allow them to expand the grade level served from their current grade bands of pre-K through 5 to also offer a middle school program. So it would allow them to serve students in grades 6 through 8. This would be accomplished through the addition of 1 grade level per year until they would reach the full enrollment of 675 students. So serving grades pre-K through 8. And so with that said, in addition to requesting the expansion to serve middle school grades, the amendment petition also does include a request to increase their maximum current enrollment threshold. The school's current maximum enrollment is 388 students. And it's important to note here that at this time, all seats are filled within the school, and they have a wait list of over 110 students at the time that this amendment petition was filed. And then just next, before jumping into the specific merits of the amendment petition, I would just add here that the school's plan to expand their middle school program really began back in 2019. The board worked together to do some strategic planning. They conducted a formal feasibility assessment, they did site visits, and they also engaged with their parents and their community members as a part of this decision. So through this robust planning process and the years of planning, the school was able to secure financial support from New Schools Venture Fund, Charter Growth Fund, and BES. And then now I'll just jump into the specific merits of the amendment petition that were detailed within the executive director's recommendation. So to begin, I wanted to just highlight some of the academic specific items that we noted within the amendment petition that support the addition of a middle school program, as well as the additional seats. And so specifically, as we look at the academic plan that was outlined within the amendment petition, it is consistent with the school's mission and the Montessori model that is currently utilized within the school. As a part of the expansion, Libertas will ensure that the program remains fully Montessori based and is aligned with state standards. And they will do this by drawing from their current Montessori curriculum, as well as the core knowledge curriculum that has historically been utilized by the school. Libertas has achieved consistent high academic results, and the amendment petition incorporated this compelling historical academic data, which was evidenced by the school's TVOS, which they've exceeded standards on the commission's framework for the last 4 years. And this really just demonstrates the school's capacity to achieve academic growth for their students. And then just also for when we look at the academic section of the amendment petition, I would just add here that they have demonstrated steady improvements on their TCAP year over year, all the while remaining committed to serving historically disadvantaged students. So when we look at students with disabilities, as well as students that are economically disadvantaged, we see that, for example, in 2022, these subgroups of students achieved some of the highest levels of growth as indicated by the TVOS 5 scores and recent ELA proficiency rates. So then now just shifting to the operation plan for adding these grade levels. When we look at staffing specifically, the plan does include an incubation year. And so with that, they would have that additional time for recruiting and training teachers, getting the teachers connected with the Libertas culture, getting a relationship with those families, as well as just adding that extra timeline for hiring. Next, when we look at the facility plan, it really was realistic and it had multiple contingency options for them. So currently the school is in the process of adding an additional 7,000 square feet to their existing school campus. And this addition is going to be estimated to be completed in April 2024. At a recent site visit just last month, we were able to see that construction and it is well underway. So while this space and this additional square footage is ultimately going to be used for the additional elementary seats, the space is able to accommodate the scaling grade levels in both year 1 and 2 of expanding their middle school program. And so this provides that sufficient runway and margin as they work to identify and secure a long-term facility plan for their middle school. And so ultimately they have until the start of fall of 2026 before that's really like their drop dead date for securing the long-term option for their middle school. So at this time, as their first choice, the school has identified a promising site and that meets the criteria for the middle school, and they are in discussions with the owner about possible terms. If this option does not materialize as a second option for the school, they would build an additional phase onto their current building. And so they've already begun working with their architecture on conceptual designs so that way they can determine the costs and the viability to move forward with that as a backup option. And then they do have really a third additional contingency option that is available to them. And so if neither of those first two options work out, they have identified a community partner organization that exists within the Fraser neighborhood that has an unused education building that they would be able to renovate. So they have multiple contingency plans built in at this time. And then just lastly, just talking about the financial viability of the plan, I would just add that the amendment petition included a detailed budget that demonstrates financial sustainability with the expansion. And so they show that they continue to have revenues that exceed expenses. The school is in a strong financial position at this time. They have a very healthy days cash on hand balance. They have healthy reserves, and the school has historically clean audits. We know that the cost of facilities is definitely a real thing for charter schools. And so the cost of the facilities would be funded through both a $5.3 million tax exempt bond, with the remaining amounts being covered by fundraising. And at this time, the school has already secured and received written and verbal commitments of approximately 50 to 75% of the necessary fundraising to cover the remaining facility costs. And so based on just the totality of the record, it is the recommendation that the School Performance and Accountability Committee approve and vote to move the amendment petition to the full commission for consideration at the special called meeting on Monday, December 4th. And I just want to note here that after the meeting, the recommendation will be updated to reflect any conversation that we have today. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
This is Chris Richards. I have a question. I appreciate your detailed information on the facilities plan. I was out there last spring and they went through with me the original plan for the expansion that they have underway, and it is an elementary school facility. I mean, that's what it's designed for. They could probably use it for sixth graders for a year, but it's not really designed. And of course, they're adding almost 100 children per grade level. So I'm not second guessing their ability to have enough space, but I just want to note a concern that if that's the way they go, they need to help you understand, how that's going to be effective. My question is in the area of the tax exempt bond. Can you help me understand what is the mechanism for this organization to have access to that kind of funding, since they've said this is a component of their funding plan?
Yes, I'll start the question, then I'll hand it over to Tess if she has anything additional to add. So as part of the amendment petition, there is not significant amounts of detail about the mechanisms that they used to secure the bond. I'd be more than happy to get the additional information about the bond, but they did state that they were able to get really good funding terms, a lower interest rate. And I will have to get back to you with additional details though about specifically how they went about doing that. Tess, would you
So
have
I got
anything to
it.
add?
I have additional information. So it was through, it was the financing that covered the current renovation of the facility and the deferred maintenance. So they were able to get that through the Shelby County Health and Education Board in partnership through Truist Bank.
Okay. So that's already, that's why it's already in place. Because it's okay, I understand that. That makes me a lot more comfortable. This local facility that they're looking at, how close is it to that school? Do you have any idea?
I believe we were going to drive by when we were out there. I think it's about within a mile. It's very close, and they are
Yes, within 3 blocks away of the school, the current facility.
Okay. I only have one other comment, then I'll turn the floor over to the other commissioners. I didn't mean to monopolize the conversation, but one reason why I am supportive of this additional request to add grades is because of the strong academic performance that this operator has demonstrated. They have just unbelievably good gross scores while dealing with a very difficult, challenging population where they not only serve economically disadvantaged and special needs children, but they serve them at a rate that is greater than the rate of our underlying district, and yet provide the kind of growth that we are really looking for. So I think that their performance from an academic point of view, and I know they continue to work on proficiency as everyone does, and they to work on their chronic absenteeism as everyone does, but makes me feel a lot more comfortable with voting affirmatively to support this application.
Thank you, Commissioner Richards. Commissioner Grissom, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Tom Griscom. One quick question. I'm just rounding the numbers. It's almost like a doubling of the number of students they'll have. Are all the new students come in going to be in 6, 7, 8, or does some of this, because it seems like you got a feeder coming in, so that's a large jump, or are they going to be adding additional seats into grades 1 to 6 as well as, 1 to 5 as they expand on up?
That's a good question. So mostly the additional seats are for grades 6, 7, and 8. However, there is as part of the request, they will be increasing enrollment in all grade levels. In some, it's 2 to 3. In grades 3, for example, it's an additional 12 students. And so all grade levels will expand to a certain degree, but the majority of the increased seats is in the middle school grades.
And if I may follow with that. So I'm assuming this wait list that was, if I remember back, 110, that spreads across all of the existing 1 to 5 grade levels. So it's not like they're going to have to go out and recruit to find those students that there's probably already got a backlog right now that would fill those seats if they opened them up. Is that a fair statement, Beth?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
And as a part of the process, we did talk with the school specifically about what their recruitment plan would be beyond just the wait list. And so they do have a good reputation in the communities. People want to go to the school, and they have a relationship with a feeder school that would help if more seats became available.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And one additional follow-up there, Commissioner Griscom, is that we did ask about how the school acclimates students to the Montessori environment if they enroll at a higher grade level. So that is something that we did follow up with, just to get an understanding that, yes, the majority of your students may be matriculating, but you may be recruiting new students in a higher grade level. So what does that process look like to get students prepared to, academically within the Montessori model?
Great. Well, thank you, commissioners, both for your questions and comments. I know Commissioner Richards, I had a similar question in the context of the facility, and I'll only add, I think for me, this application or this amendment petition, it really it reminds me of how strong this school has been doing. Certainly, Commissioner Richards, you mentioned on the academic performance side, they continue to outperform neighborhood peers. They've seen TVOS 5 growth, I think, in 3 years in a row. I think the other thing in the application that it reminds me of the importance of community and community support. I think I saw letters from the Shelby County commissioner, a Shelby County commissioner, a Memphis Shelby County school board member, a local pastor who is very active in the community, the Fraser Exchange Club. And so it highlights, I think, the impact that this school has had on the community and community supporters. I think another thing is it also reminds me that choice is important. And this is, to my understanding, Chris, probably one of the only Montessori models in the greater Memphis community in an urban environment, serving traditionally underserved neighborhoods and children. So to see that kind of performance with this type of innovative model, and again, I use the word innovative in the context of what we have in the community, it speaks volumes. And so I am just overwhelmed with support because they're looking to grow and continue to provide more access and more options for this neighborhood and hopefully for children across the city because of the demand that they have. So I'm excited about it. If there are no further questions or comments, I do see Commissioner Carter is on the line. Commissioner Carter, I do want to recognize you if you had any questions or comments, and I want to thank you for joining our committee. I don't know if you had any comments, questions.
Terrence, thank you, but no, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to listen in. So I hope everyone's fine and you had a great Thanksgiving.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Well, with that, do I have a motion to recommend approval of this petition to the full commission?
This is Commissioner Richards. I so move.
This is Tom Griscom. I will second.
Drejon, could you take a roll call vote for us?
Commissioner Griscom,
Aye.
Commissioner Richards,
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
The motion is approved.
Thank you again. The amendment petition for Libertas School of Memphis has been recommended to the full commission for approval. Again, I want to thank you all for your attendance and participation at this meeting of the School Performance and Accountability Committee. At this time, I'd like to ask if there are any final comments from commissioners.
Tom Griscom, not trying to cut you off short, but if you're looking for a motion to adjourn, I'm happy to give that to you.
And I am happy to second it. This is Commissioner Richards.
Thank you very much. Can we get a roll call vote?
Commissioner Griscom,
Aye.
Commissioner Richards,
Aye.
Commissioner Patterson.
Aye.
Motion's approved.
Great. And then just one final comment that the next meeting for the School Performance and Accountability Committee will be scheduled for January 25th, 2024. Thank you all for your attendance and participation. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.